Alrighty, so we have an exciting lineup of speakers and instructors today. So we have Dr. Julia Henderson, and she has her students joining with us. So Dr. Henderson is an assistant professor in the Department of Occupational Science and Occupational Therapy at UBC. She is a registered OT and holds a PhD in theater. And her research with older adults uses arts-based methods, especially theater, to redress cultural ageism. And Sandra Tjoa, who will be joining us. So Sandra is a Qigong and Tai Chi instructor who is dedicated to working with people who've had prolonged stress, intense emotional states, and chronic pain. Her holistic approach has helped get rid of headaches and migraines, relieve chronic back pain and joint pain, and lift unhealed trauma, giving people more energy to focus on things that matter to them. And we are also joined by Cynthia Friesen, who is a community musician and music educator. So Cynthia practices music as care for little ones at St. James Music Academy and facilitates music wellness for our program, where she is the team lead for creative expression programming. She just completed a graduate degree in music education at UBC, exploring music through a lens of care and developing curriculum of belonging. And we're also joined by Mady, who is our art from the heart instructor. And Mady holds a master's degree in psychotherapy and spirituality with a specialization in art therapy. So she is a client-centered therapist and as such believes that you have innate wisdom and capacity for self-healing and personal growth. She draws on a variety of theories to create an integrative approach. And I would also like to take a moment to thank all of our program donors today. It's because of your generosity and support that we are able to offer these classes and events. So for the agenda today, we will start with Dr. Henderson's presentation with her grad students, Paulina and Navanita, and we'll move on to a Q&A with Dr. Henderson and her students. We'll have Sandra join us for a quick reset presentation, and then we'll have a 5-minute transition period. If you need to use the washrooms are on the second and first floor. They're at the end of the hallway. And then we'll get into a creative flow with Cynthia and Mady. And lastly, we'll finish off with refreshments and socials for those in person. Ready? And without further ado, oh, give me 1 second. All right, just a couple of housekeeping notes. If you have questions on Zoom, just type them in the chat. For those on Zoom, please make sure your mic is muted. And the session is being recorded, and Dr. Henderson and Sandra's talk will be made live on our website in about 2 weeks' time. And without further ado, I will pass the mic on to Dr. Henderson. Welcome.
Okay, hi everyone. We'll get started. Can you hear me okay at the back? Okay, great. I do have a trained theater voice because I was a professional actor, but it kind of got damaged when I got COVID, so I'll try my best. I think I can keep it up. So thank you so much. I'm Dr. Julia Henderson. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm assistant professor in the Department of Occupational Science and Occupational Therapy here at UBC. I'm an investigator with UBC's Edwin S.H. Liang Center for Healthy Aging. And I'm also the chair of the North American Network in Aging Studies. And I have today with me 2 of my graduate students, Navanita Ravichandran and Paulina Malcolm. They're both MSc students, Master of Science students in the Rehabilitation Sciences program, and they work with me as my research assistants, so they'll join me today. Why is it not advancing? There we go. Okay, before we go further, I'd just like to acknowledge that the research and community projects we're going to talk about today took place on the unceded, traditional, and contested lands of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh First Nations. And we'd just like to acknowledge the rich, diverse, and long-standing artistic and creative practices of Indigenous peoples. And based on this shared valuing of creativity, we commit to building relationships in a good way and moving forward in a spirit of truth, reconciliation, and respect. So the connection between arts and health is well documented. And it's recognized across disciplines, including public health, psychology, gerontology, medical humanities, and age studies, for example. Artistic engagement, whether through things like visual art, music, dance, or storytelling, has been shown to support emotional, cognitive, social, and even physical health. Engagement in creativity and the arts offers a wide range of benefits to older adults, and these benefits are supported by both qualitative and quantitative research across disciplines.
So as we grow older, our brains naturally undergo both structural and functional changes, and that can affect how we think, feel, and respond to the world around us. Cerebral blood flow tends to decrease with age, and reduced blood flow often associates with cognitive decline, which is linked to conditions like vascular dementia. There is damage to brain's white matter as we grow old, which is crucial for efficient communication between different brain regions. Older adults may experience slower processing speed and multitasking becomes more challenging for them, making it harder to juggle several activities at once. And there is change in fluid intelligence, which means the ability to solve novel problems, abstract reasoning, and adapt to new situations.
As you can see, fluid intelligence peaks at age 30. So it's not just an issue for older adults. It's something that throughout the life course, we gradually have some changes.
Yeah. On the left, you see the younger adult brain, which is more intact. And on the right, you can see the aged brain where the structures begin to change. Yeah. On the right, you see the younger brain cells. On the left, you see the older adults' brain cells, where the myelin sheath becomes to loosen up and the intact brain cells become to deteriorate.
So what we're suggesting with this is just that there are some structural changes that happen as we age. It's not only about environment. However, the good news is that there are some cognitive functions that remain stable as we age, barring the presence of disease. So implicit memory is something that remains stable as we age, and that is the type of long-term memory that we don't have to consciously recall. It's being able to do something implicitly without thinking a lot about it. One type of implicit memory is procedural memory. So this is something like riding a bicycle, right? You don't think about all of the different pieces that you put together. You're just able to sort of remember and put those together to ride the bike. Emotional regulation is something that also remains stable in most people over the life course. And crystallized intelligence is actually something that improves throughout the life course. So this is crystallized intelligence is drawing on our accumulated knowledge, experience, and learned skills to solve problems and make decisions. So it draws on vocabulary, math skills, social judgment, cultural literacy. So that's something that throughout our life, we continue to gain in crystallized intelligence unless we have some kind of underlying disease process. So great thinkers and scholars and artists have over time thought about the connection between aging and creativity. George Bernard Shaw says, we don't stop playing as we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing. So thinking about that connection between creativity and play. Maya Angelou said, you can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have. And Western Gold Theatre, which is a professional theater company in Vancouver for older adults, which is a company I work with, their tagline is, creativity has no expiry date. So what is creativity? Well, it involves imagination, novelty, synthesis, putting together lots of different ideas to create something new. It can be more traditional artistic pursuits like painting or drawing or writing. It can be embodied experiences like singing or dancing. But there's lots of creativity in things like science and business. So for example, when I'm creating a research study and I'm developing the design, there's a lot of creativity in about how I think about that scientific research design in order to answer the research questions I want to answer. The same when I look at my research budgets. There's creativity in figuring out how to toy with the budget to be able to accomplish what I want to, right? Creativity also exists in the small moments of our day-to-day life. You know, just little moments where you make creative decisions, because making a decision can be a moment of creativity. What do I wear today? That can be a creative choice, right? So the idea behind this is to take away the kind of hegemonic understanding that creativity only exists and is the purview of artists. It's something that's available to everyone.
So a little bit more about why creativity matters. Regular creative practices such as singing, writing, storytelling, and art help form new neural connections, which enhances cognitive flexibility, like what Julia was just talking about. It helps to strengthen memory and executive functioning, can rekindle purpose, identity, and self-expression, and can improve your overall well-being. Ahead of this presentation, we reviewed some Canadian literature that focused on how engagement in arts-based social creative activities can affect older adults' well-being. In these studies, it was reported that engagement in creative programming can lead to better mental health, less loneliness, reduced depression, more social connection, new meaningful relationships, a sense of feeling healthier, feeling less pain, and feeling a strong sense of community. Now we'll share some information about just a few of these studies.
I think we actually might skip that.
Okay.
I think we were gonna share a couple of studies that weren't our studies that reported on older age and creativity, but because we started quite late, I don't think we have time. So I'll skip forward so we can share our own research with you, because that's what we're most excited about. And if you want to talk to us after, we can share some of that. The other piece that I just wanted to share before we go into sharing some of our research is that, you know, there's a lot of focus in healthcare and from funding bodies on the benefits of creativity for health and well-being. But there's also researchers who are suggesting and want us to recognize that there are also benefits to creativity beyond health. Right? Some people might have a chronic health condition where they're not going to get better. The disease prevents that. So creativity is not necessarily going to make them more healthy, but it has other benefits. It connects people. It helps build community. It creates social environments that are more hospitable. The very act of accessing our imagination is a positive experience for people and can create a sense of well-being, even in experiences where there might be also at the same time experiences where well-being is hard to maintain. And really fostering creative expression and meaningful experiences is an important aspect of creativity. I'm gonna skip this one. So we're now going to share just a summary of some of our studies. I'm not sure how well the sound is going to work in the room here, so I have quite a number of video clips, but we'll maybe play little bits, and if the sound isn't working, I'll just try to voice over and describe them for you. So one of my recent studies was called the Intergenerational Arts for Climate Action Study. So this was working with well, healthy older adults and children. The idea behind it was that in a lot of the discourses around climate change, they tend to emphasize generational conflict and divide generations. They tend to focus on inequalities. And of the generational climate research that has been done, it mostly focuses on a single generation. But some researchers like Stephanie Lamb and Charlie Tott call for decolonial, intergenerational, arts-based and participatory research that focuses more on intergenerational solidarity. So that's what I was interested in. And so we were interested in older adults and children, 9 to 12, and what their perspectives were on climate change. How did they understand and describe it? We wanted to know how generations can work together to address climate change from the perspectives of our participants. And we also wanted to see what low waste, ethical, artistic research processes might look like. So we brought together a group of children and older adults for a week last August. And this is a brief video. We'll see how if it plays and you can hear it. We had a public sharing event, and this is just the first 3 minutes of a longer video about that event. Okay, we do have no sound, so I'll just tell you, this was the group. It took place at Kitsilano Neighborhood House in August, and we had an audience of about 30 people, and the group was sharing the artistic products they had created by engaging together collaboratively in artwork that involved visual art, collaborative songwriting, creative writing, and theater exercises. So this was, I won't play all of it, but this was showing that event. So overall in this study, we found that many of the climate concerns were the same across generations. However, older adults as a group had a better understanding of some of the structural issues and kind of political issues driving climate change, which is understandable because they're older and more experienced. But both the older adults and children came to the project with, both groups had a range of interests. So in both groups, some people came because they were interested in climate change and had experience in climate action, and some people came because they had an interest in the arts. So that was the case with both children and older adults. And overall, the collaborative arts engagement stimulated meaningful conversations and challenged stereotypes. I also had a community engagement partnership project with Western Gold Theatre that was called #HaveASeniorMoment Social Media Video Series. The idea behind this one was, you've heard the term have a senior moment, right? And it usually describes a moment of forgetfulness or a moment where we maybe are embarrassed. And so the idea behind this was we wanted to reclaim that term and have it not be something negative anymore. So we recruited older adult content creators who were 60 and over, and we paired them with student technology facilitators. And together, each pair created a social media video that focused on a moment in the older adult's life where they, something they were proud of, something they were engaged in that they felt inspired by, maybe a moment of relationship that was important to them. And we posted them on the social media of Western Gold Theatre, so you can look it up. And they're all there on their Instagram, and these are the hashtags that we used. And they also were released leading up to a play festival called the Have a Senior Moment Play Festival. And they played in a loop on the lobby during that festival. And it was about featuring new plays by older adults who were emerging playwrights. I had a few of them. I'll just play one. So maybe you can see the visuals. So the first one was this moment, gentleman playing guitar. The next one was a moment, a gentleman who was like painting rocks and distributing around the neighborhood. And then the next one was, oops, see if we can go to the next one, was a group of people that do cold water swimming. And so it shows them approaching the beach and then going down into the water to swim. How are we doing for time? 5 more minutes or? Yeah, okay. The next initiative I'll talk to you about is the Healthy Aging Visual Art Prize, which was co-sponsored by the UBC Javid Mawafaghian Center for Brain Health and the UBC Edwin S.H. Leung Center for Healthy Aging. The idea behind this was to counter visual ageism. So that's the social practice of visually underrepresenting older people or misrepresenting them in a prejudiced way. So while people have been represented in Western contexts in many ways, over time, there has been persistent representation for many centuries that is negative, and includes things like ridiculousness, low social standing, imagery that involves like looking wrinkled, looking sagging. And it also depictions are gendered and much less favorable to women than men. So the idea was to counter this by creating a visual art contest that was both open to the public and members of the centers. So originally people submitted digitally. We had a panel of 5 judges who had expertise in art and gerontology and curation. They selected 15 finalists that sent their artwork in person, and we had an art event downstairs in this building in the atrium, an artist night where the judges judged the final prizes and awarded the winners. And on our website, there is a gallery of all of the 40 finalists. And then select finalists were transferred to a public gallery at Jericho Art Center as well, which this is an image of that gallery. I'll just quickly show the winning one. So this was a first prize called Life Giving by Esme Gale McLaren. Second prize called Transformation One Day or Day One by Gloria Daly. Third prize was a tie, Harmony by Mary Meredith, and Home by Annette Newkirk. Aspiration Dancing Auntie by Nazanin Virji Babul was our investigator winner. And then Navanitha here was the trainee award winner for her piece, Aging Gracefully, The Joy of Generational Bonds. So in summary, our aim was to inspire authentic representations of aging that showed connection, intergenerational relationships, and that really challenged some of the visual ageism that we see in cultural representations. And then finally, we'll talk about our last project with Navanitha and Paulina will share. Stand in front so they can see you on camera.
Yeah, Changing Home is a current study happening through Dr. Henderson's Elders Create Lab. And in this project, we are interested in understanding older adults experiences of transitioning from a long-term home and how they think about downsizing and divesting of possessions. Also, we are interested in understanding whether collaborating with researchers to create an artistic keepsake of objects that the person is trying to get rid of, and how that is meaningful to the older adults. And we have few examples of what these keepsakes might look like.
All right, so this first one is a digital slideshow. It's a prototype kind of keepsake that we as the research assistants created together. And this one, I'll just play for a second. You can see there's photos alongside a short description of what the objects are, memories that someone might have of the objects, and things that they may have done with them. So it could be kind of mundane objects, things that are super meaningful, but all of them have these very individual, special stories that go along with them. Oh, I have to pause it. I had to pause it first and then do it, I think. There we go. And then another one, Navanitha created this one, is kind of like a physical book version of the last one that I just showed you. So it's got interactiveness in it, there's photos, and then also stories alongside, and little memories kind of arranged within the book itself. And we're just showing a really short clip here, but it's quite big. And this last one is a video with some audio over top of it. So in this case, it's the prototype. And so it's a research assistant talking over that this was a photo that his grandmother created when she was 14, and the color has significance, books that have significance to them, but that they'll be getting rid of. And it keeps going, but yeah.
So we'd like to mention that we are still actively recruiting participants for this ongoing study. And so if you're 65 years or older and living in Greater Vancouver area and you're planning to move from your long-term home in the next 12 months. We would love to hear from you. And we have some printed copies of pamphlets available here today. So if you're interested or you know someone who might be interested in this project, please feel free to come by and take one with you after the session.
Okay. So, thank you. So just to summarize, engaging in creative activities can play a powerful role in supporting healthy aging. Studies show creativity reduces loneliness and depression, boosts emotional well-being, and supports brain health. Artistic engagement can also be used to counter ageism, foster a sense of community, and meaningfully reshape notions of aging, older age, and practices of care, as well as support activism. So let's embrace the creativity within us, no matter how messy or imperfect it may be. Thanks to our funders on these projects. And thanks to the BC Brain Wellness Program, again, for having us here today. We're really grateful. We can open it up now for a Q&A. While we're doing that, this is a QR code to the references we used in the presentation, and partway through, I'll switch it to another QR code, which is some of my recent publications. Thank you.
And are those acting groups or improv or anything available in Vancouver? Or?
Yeah, so Western Gold Theatre is actually one of 2 professional theatre companies in Canada that are senior theatre companies. So that company in particular is working with people mostly who have had careers as actors and artists. But there is another group at Presentation House Theatre called, I believe, the Golden Fireflies, that is open to anyone and has a number of different programs and activities that involve theater. It's on the North Shore. Yeah.
Vancouver, like downtown, like.
Not that there might be through the community centers, but nothing I'm aware of right now. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure, but if I find anything, I can forward it to the BC Brain Wellness, and maybe they can circulate it. Yeah. Thank you. Zoom. Any questions on Zoom?
On Zoom? We need to share. Yes, pull up. Yeah, sure. And would you like to discuss?
Sure. Are we saying that brain aging is a brain injury? No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that all of us have some structural changes to our brain as we age, and that starts earlier in our life course. It's not only associated with older age. There are many other factors that also influence our aging, right? Like all kinds of social and environmental factors. So no, some people develop diseases. Dementia, for example, is one that affects our brain health. But part of normal, healthy aging is also there are some changes to brain structures, right, and brain function. And there are also some aspects of brain function, like crystallized intelligence, that continue to improve over time. Yeah, I have one question in the room here.
Well, thank you for sharing your study. That's very interesting for everyone. My question is, in your study, it impact more that creativity that people does with hands, like a sculpture or dancing, rather than painting or doing another kind of creativity?
Mm-hmm. So the question for those online is, in the research, or my study in particular, is there a difference to outcomes for older adults' health, whether it was something that was creativity that was done with the hands, like sculpting, versus other forms of creativity? And the answer to that is I'm not sure. I've not read differences based on that. There may be research that says that, but I'm not sure. In my own research, I am not typically measuring health outcomes. I'm more interested in challenging cultural ageism. So that's more been the focus of a lot of the work that I do. There's a comment here that says Mosaic has a musical theater group that involves immigrant seniors. So that is really interesting. And I think that's all the questions I see here. Oh, one more, and then we should pass it along to the next presenter. Thank you.
Talked about, dance and music and all that. Is there a site a person can go to see where it's good for seniors to access these things? Like, there can be like, say, improv deck on Gravel Island, but it might not be totally suitable to the beginner senior, you
Yeah.
don't quite fit in. So I totally believe what you're saying is creativity helps with the brain, but where do we access these programs?
Mentioned Green Wellness, there is an improv group. So
Great.
it's well worth checking that out.
Great. So the comment was, for those online, that through BC Brain Wellness, there is an improv group, and there's many other arts programs through BC Brain Wellness. Other than that, I'm not sure if there's a centralized place to find out about artistic programs across the city for older adults, but that would be a really great research and community development project in future. So thanks for that idea. We'll look into it further. Thank you so much. Did you have anything to add, Christine? Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Henderson and your students for giving us such an insightful presentation on the arts and their brain health and aging. We will just do a quick transition to Sandra, who will be joining us virtually. So just give us a moment while we do that. Okay. Just make sure Sandra is pinned and she's co-host. You should. Sandra here.
All right. Hello, everyone. Are we set to go?
Can everyone hear okay? Okay, perfect.
Yeah. All right. So is that a go ahead?
You are good to go, Sandra.
Okay. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
All right. So it's a lot of fun to see a lot of familiar faces and a lot of familiar names. So I thank you all for being here. I did teach a set of classes last fall and early this winter. So it's good to be here again with all of you. I'd like to say thank you to Dr. Julia and her two master's students. I'm afraid I didn't have quite a chance to jot down their names, but I appreciate the talk on bringing creativity to add to brain health in all the different aspects of our life and our existence, which ties nicely into what I'm going to be bringing in today. For those of you that haven't yet met me, hello, my name is Sandra, and I am a Tai Chi Qigong master healer. And so I bring in the principles of those ancient practices and the wisdom from them together to help people make their way through stress, pain, and work with those challenges so that they can be their best versions of themselves. So to start off the talk, I'd like to explain a couple of little things, and then what I'll be doing is bringing in some very simple skills and tools that you can bring into your day to help with emotional and mental stress and anxiety. So, and they'll tie in nicely also with what Dr. Julia and her students brought in for us today. So while we exist on this earth in a human body, we actually exist in 5 bodies. We have our physical body, we have our mental body, our emotional body, our energetic body, and our spiritual body. Now, aside from the energy body itself, the other bodies, our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies, have an energetic aspect to them. So by taking care of the health of our energy body, we are also improving and enhancing the health of all the other bodies. And attention to the energy body is not something that really comes top of mind for many people. When we have physical symptoms, we may go to the doctor. We may search out different practitioners, different therapists to help with whatever pain, whatever dis-ease state we are experiencing in our body. When we're experiencing challenges in our mental or emotional bodies, we might go to counseling, therapy. We might search out different holistic modalities that bring us to better relaxation, give us tools to relax the mental and emotional stresses we may be experiencing. And for some, in the spiritual realm, you might search out different meditative practices, right? Different affirmation practices, different practices that bring in some ancient wisdom that are probably more familiar in the Eastern philosophies and approaches to our health. But very rarely does it come to mind to actually take care of the health of the energy body. And again, when we think of all the other bodies having an energy aspect to it, by paying attention to the health of our energy body, we can enhance the health of all the other bodies. And as we happen to be in this beautiful human body, we as humans also have the gift of using our physicality, so physical movement, physically moving the breath, to move energy through, whether it be from stress, whether it be from anxiety, because emotions are energy. So if you have any degree of an experience with stress, with anxiety, with worry, there is an energy to that. That affects the health of your energy body and therefore the health of the energetic aspects of all your other bodies. So in Dr. Julia's presentation, when she talked about creativity coming in and a little bit of emotional uplift, a little bit of mental relief, it can and does affect the health of your physical body. What I do with my work is we bring the gift again of being able to move our physical body to affect the energy state that we are in at any given time. We can do that with simple movements. We can do that with simple breaths. I think that sums that up. So we're going to move into the skills that we're going to be bringing in. And why I'm tying these into, which ties nicely into the talk we just had, is because perhaps some of you have been truly inspired to get involved with something that inspires and spurs on and nurtures that creativity so that you can benefit from the aspects of getting creatively involved in something, whether it be dance, whether it be painting, whether it be theater, or writing. It can be so many different things that you can partake in to nurture all these bodies that we're speaking about. But when you come into that, you might come across a little bit of a wall where you're trying to make the decision of, well, what will I get involved with? What will I choose to use as an outlet or experiment with to find out what is a great creative activity for me to involve myself in? Some of you, as you're trying to make your way through that decision, may come across a little bit of anxiety as you're trying to make that decision, because we as adults always want to make the right decision. We're so fixated on making the right decision for ourselves. And I would like to stress that there is no right and there is no wrong. And when you might experience some type of stress or some type of anxiety in any decision that you are wanting to make with your day, just understand that it is a different level of energy in the body that just needs a little bit of management, a little bit of attention and taking care of, so that we can transform that stress and anxiety energy into an energy that is more useful for us. So before I start bringing the 3 skills in that I'd like to bring in today, one thing that everyone, those of you that were with me with the classes last year and early this year, those of you that are currently in classes with me now, hear me say this over and over and over again. Feel the ground beneath your feet. So for those of you, if you're sitting or standing, whatever position you're in, place your feet flat on the ground and just take note of feeling the ground beneath your feet. We don't have quite the time to go into energetically what the significance is of this, but trust me when I say, when we have physical grounding, we also have mental and emotional grounding. So feeling the ground beneath your feet. If at times you're not sitting upright or you're not standing, when you lie down, feel into any parts of your body that make contact and connection with whatever it is you're lying on. Because when we touch something, it actually becomes an extension of us. So we can ground through those points where you feel some type of touch, communication, connection. Those can become your grounding points. So at times when you may not feel that you're have enough energy perhaps to be upright, either sitting or standing, just know that you can feel into the grounding points that are touching the bed, touching the couch, whatever it is that's holding you up. Now we're going to go into 3 simple skills that you can bring into your day that help transform that stress and energy body. Because what happens when we get stressed and anxious is we actually end up operating out of the head. And then we get this energy that's stuck in the head. And so some of you may experience brain fog when you're trying to make a decision. You might experience headaches, migraines. You might experience tension in the neck and the shoulder muscles. These are all indications of energy that are getting stuck up here. And so we're going to move through a couple of breaths and then a very simple thing that you can bring in that helps transform and open up that stuck energy that might be in your head and open up to that to flow. So in your other bodies, your physical body, your mental body, emotional, spiritual, and energy body, by encouraging that little bit more of flow, we can come into better balance and harmony. So the first thing we're going to bring in is called the chest breath. And so for those of you that remember, feel that ground beneath your feet. If you're sitting or standing, just remember the ground is there. If you're lying down, feel into the parts of your body that are resting on whatever it is you're lying on. Those are your grounding points. And we're going to draw a nice breath in through the nose And relax the jaw and the mouth open and allow your exhale to flow out of an open mouth. So drawing a breath in through the nose. The jaw and the mouth relax open, and we'll do that a few more times, breathing in through the nose. And as you allow those exhalations to flow with ease out of the body, imagine that they carry with them whatever stresses, tensions, or holdings the body is able to let go of at this time. Breathing in through the nose. And let that breath flow out of the mouth. The second breath we're going to bring in is called the neck and the shoulder breath. And for the neck and the shoulder breath, we actually hold the tongue close to the roof of the mouth. So if you can make a hissing sound like a snake, try it out. And you feel the air leave through that top space of the mouth. Yes? I don't have a lot of people here to let me know if they're getting the hang of that. But if you can feel that air leave in that top space of the mouth, you're making a hissing sound like a snake. That lets us know that the tongue is in place. And so holding the tongue there, we're going to allow the exhales to leave through that space. So like you're hissing like a snake. It's not necessary that you feel the air or hear the air leave the body, just letting you know that's where the tongue is. All right. So what we're going to do now is draw a breath in through the nose. The tongue is in place, and allow that exhale to leave through that space. You feel it at that top part in the mouth. And again, breathing in through the nose. The tongue is in place. And just allow that exhale to flow with ease out of the body. Now, with the neck and the shoulder breath, there is an added component. And so as you allow that exhale to leave through that top part in the mouth, imagine that the air or the energy of that breath moves through the neck, the shoulders, and then out of the body. So just imagine that as you exhale, you're moving that breath through the neck, the shoulders, and out. Breathing in through the nose. The tongue is in place, close to the roof of the mouth, and exhale. Again, breathing in through the nose. And as that exhale flows out of the body, imagine that it moves through the neck, the shoulders, and out. As each exhalation flows with ease out of the body, imagine that it carries with it whatever stresses, tensions, or holdings the body is able to let go of at this time. Tongue in place, and just allow that breath to move through you. The third skill we're going to bring in is now taking the hands and just gently tapping all over the body. It can be your shoulders, your arms, your face, the head, back of the head. You can tap your lap and bring those two breaths in. So let's do the chest breath, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. As you tap, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And once more, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And as you tap all over, it can be anywhere that you choose. Breathing in through the nose, the tongue is in place close to the roof of the mouth, and just allow that exhale. Imagine that that breath moves through the neck, the shoulders, and out. And two more times. Breathing in through the nose. The tongue is in place. And once more, breathing in through the nose. Tongue is in place, and exhale. So those three things alone, in addition to feeling the ground beneath your feet. So first, feeling the ground beneath your feet or any parts of your body that feel connection to the ground. Then bringing in the chest breath, the neck and the shoulder breath. And then some body tapping wherever you like, using those two breaths to move the energy. Now, when we're tapping, it is key to move the breath at the same time because our chi, our life force energy, is attached to the breath. And when we exhale, we are allowing the body to clear and move whatever stuck, stagnant chi, stuck, stagnant life force energy the body is ready to clear at that time, which can include that stress energy, that anxiety energy. And we want to open that up to flow rather than collect in the body so that we then have these pockets of stuck energy in our body, which then translates into other signs and symptoms that we experience in those other bodies that we spoke about. So as you tap, really important to move the breath at the same time. When we inhale, we're inhaling fresh, new, supportive, vibrant, enlivening chi, life force energy into the body to then fill and take the space of the energy that we've just cleared. All right. So hopefully that was helpful for you. I'm not sure if someone can cue me if we have a few minutes for questions, or we'll have Cynthia and Mady come in next. Someone will have to let me know.
Can you hear me okay? Yeah. Let me just take a quick look here. I don't think so. Does anyone have any questions in person for Sandra? No? I think we're good then, Sandra. Thank you so much.
Okay, so just an added point, if anyone is interested in other resources of breaths or really easy moves that can help support that stress and that anxiety, I have lots of videos that people can have access to anytime. And so what I've done is I've added my email into the chat. And if you're interested in other resources that you can bring in, then you can let me know. And have a wonderful time with Cynthia and Mady, everyone. Thank you for being here.